Hey, I'm one of Zalatath's toes, but which one? You'll never know. This recap's coming at you a little early. I want to talk about the first couple of weeks of Midnight just before Season 1 starts today. I want to talk about my first impressions of the expansion, which overall are very good. I think as much as I enjoyed The War Within, especially when it came out, I'm enjoying Midnight way more. I just want to talk about that a little bit. So let's just start from the beginning with launch, because I got early access, and then when the quest went live, I'm sure as everyone else, immediately servers had issues. And I couldn't help but laugh. It was just so funny, like just what I imagined, like someone hitting enter at Blizzard and then just everything going down. I think we were down for like, I don't know, 30 minutes. And then on the Monday, we had like 15 minutes of issues. So overall about, let's just round up to an hour worth of issues with the launch. I would say overall that's good. I know that in the past, like Warlords, for example, always comes to mind of how bad that launch was and how laggy it was. I'd say an hour of issues is pretty good. As I said it would, I just leveled up slowly, casually. And it was such an enjoyable experience. For the first time ever in a WoW expansion, I actually enjoyed leveling throughout the entirety of the process. I didn't get burnt out halfway. There's no zones that I didn't like because they're all amazing. Silvermoon City is just beautiful. Like, I know I always talk about how bad Horde is, especially with their architecture, but Blood Elf architecture is the only redeeming portion of Horde. I was thinking about how I'm going to miss Dornogal when Midnight came out, and immediately I forgot all about that, and I haven't thought about Dornogal since I was thinking about making this video. So I love the new city, and then Eversong Woods is just so well done. It's pretty. There's so many places to take screenshots. It's just so nice to look at. It's fresh, it's new, but it's also a little bit nostalgic. I saw some people saying that Eversong Woods and Silvermoon City look like the places they thought they were playing in when they were kids. And I completely understand where they're coming from because, yeah, these places in particular are amazing. Eversong Woods is for sure my favorite zone of the entire expansion. Zul'Aman was a zone that I was not looking forward to going into because I just never have liked Zul stuff, but once I got in there, it was just good. There were parts of it that reminded me of Grizzly Hills, and it didn't feel like it took too long. The only thing that was grinding my gears with Zul'Aman was every single time I talked to any NPC getting so much attitude from them. The Amani need help, but not from you. You're lucky I don't kill you where you stand. Like, okay bro, I just won't do your quest then, how about that? Just go get help somewhere else. Like, it was so annoying. After that, I went into Herondar, which I always forget how to pronounce, so I might pronounce it wrong now. That was another zone that I was not really looking forward to, just because I heard so many people talk about how it sucks, and how they were saying it's the worst zone of the expansion, which I don't get. It is a nice zone. Again, the quest lines, just experiencing the zone was fine. I had fun. It looks amazing. If I were to compare it to some old zones, I'd probably say it's a combination of like Nagrand and Zangarmarsh. And then of course there's Voidstorm, which as I've talked about before, I love void stuff, and this zone is awesome. It's like this desolate, dangerous looking void area, but as nice as it looks, like that's how good Eversong Woods is. That this is not even my favorite zone, Eversong Woods is. But there's just a ton of beautiful places to take screenshots in, so I'm very much so looking forward to continuing to explore the nooks and crannies of every one of these zones. Leveling to 90 for me at least felt fast. It seems like I'm in the minority of that. People seem to think it took longer than usual. I just feel like every time I looked at my experience bar, I was almost leveled up. I think part of what made it feel so fast is the fact that the quests, and again, the zones were fine, but the quests also just were good. I finished all the quests and I thought I would not mind doing this again on an alt. The main campaign is relatively quick and it's not boring, it doesn't drag on too long, but especially the side quests. Like I remember in particular, the Ringing Deeps from The War Within. I just felt like that zone was never going to end. I was doing the side quest achievement, the Sojourner, and it was just hour upon hour upon hours. With Midnight, I feel like all of these side quest lines are like a dozen quests long, and you get like 2 to 4 at a time. So you get through them really quick. One of the things I'm honestly a little bit worried about is the discourse around flying. I've seen a lot of people talk about how they've gone to ground mounts just because the zones are so pretty to look at. They really want to take it in, which that's cool. That's awesome. Do that. But I'm just don't want Blizzard to hear that and think, okay, well, we're just going to take away flying again. The way we have it now where the players can decide whether or not they want to fly around, do everything quickly, or be a little bit more immersed in the leveling process or the questing process, please leave that, because having the choice is much better than having a choice forced on us. Moving into dungeons, I didn't do a whole lot of them while I was questing, just the stuff I needed for the actual quest lines. And then after I got all the Lore Master stuff done, I started going into them. And again, good first impressions. One of the first things I noticed that I'm in love with is the fact that these boss platforms are massive now. You have so much room to work with, but there's also not like a ceiling covering your camera, so you have to pretty much play first person all the time. I love the amount of space that we get to use. There are still a couple of dungeons, I think, like Magister's Terrace comes to mind, where their camera angles are a little bit tight. But overall, like the majority of bosses having these big platforms is awesome. I'll wait until I've been able to do the dungeons on Mythic Plus a little bit before I kind of give my final verdict, but good first impression. I think the only dungeon that really stands out to me is Mesera Caverns, but not because it's good, just because I don't really like it. It's probably the only dungeon I don't. And the reason I don't like it is just because of how much trash there is. I feel like after you kill that first boss, you're just clearing trash after trash after trash. Second boss, trash after trash after trash after trash after trash after trash, last boss. So that one just felt like it went on forever. Delves are the other thing I spent some time in, and I've got to say, I feel like I like them more. I don't know if it's just because I did like almost 700 delves in the War Within, and I'm just so burnt out on all of those, and this new batch of delves is the reason that I like them, or if they're legitimately good. For one, they feel faster. I feel like I'm getting through these delves much quicker than I have in the past. But the other thing is that this scaling feels like it's actually nice. In the War Within, I felt like by the time I got to around tier 6, 7, 8, I was just getting trucked and no amount of gear was going to save me. Right now, I did up to tier 7s and it wasn't really that challenging. I haven't noticed any egregious damage going out. I've seen a couple mechanics that I feel like are going to be annoying to deal with at higher tiers. But again, as long as it feels like gear actually matters, and if I go in, if I'm Mythic Plus geared out, a tier 8 definitely shouldn't hurt. A tier 11 should be relatively easy, just a little bit of challenge, but should be relatively easy. But yeah, so far delves are good. The only one I don't like is surprisingly the Grudge Pit. That's the one where you're just sitting in the middle the entire time and stuff comes at you. You'd think that that'd be the one I like the most, but alas, it's boring and that's the one that feels it just does not end. Outside of all that, I've been doing a lot of achievements. As I said, I'm going to try to get as many achievements in each zone before I leave it, and for the most part I did. I'm not going to go through all the achievements that I got, but I got 1,230 more points, so I'm ending right now at 49,770. Since we last spoke, I did all the Outland Cup achievements and then just a bunch of zone stuff. I collected every treasure, every lore object. I'm just missing the one treasure in Suleiman that needs 1,000 Vial Essence, but I'm working on that. I did every rare, collected all the pets, all the glyphs, flight paths, highest peaks, Lore Master, the Moth Collection. I died to a Fungal Strider. I evaded that scary thing in Voidstorm for a minute, which is legitimately kind of creepy. I got my cooking and fishing to max, and I've done all the dungeons on Mythic, all the delve stories, and all the treasures, except for the 2, obviously, that we haven't unlocked yet. I just love the initial burst of new achievements. It's just so fun going around and trying to 100% everything and just being flooded with achievements. For mounts, I was able to get a decent amount as well. Just before midnight came out, I farmed out the last 5 shards that I needed for Alonira. This is such a beautiful mount, and has actually been the mount I've been using as a primary flying mount since I got it. I got this ugly ancestral warbear from a treasure in Suleiman. I got this untainted grove crawler from a Herondar treasure. I kind of like it. It has a unique model, and it has a cool mount special. This Ruddy Spore Glider is another Herondar treasure mount. The Vivacious Chloroceros is from collecting all of the Herondar treasures. It looks kind of cool. For collecting all the Voidstorm treasures, I got the Insatiable Shredclaw. This Relinquished Scarlet Charger came from a campaign quest, and so far I think it's the best mount in Midnight. As I said, I finished collecting all the moths in Herondar, so I was able to get the Vivid Chloroceros for 10 Luminous Dust. It looks kind of cool. As well as the Elder Glowmite for another 10 Luminous Dust. It also looks cool, but it looks a little bit silly on my orc. And then lastly, I got the Iskaara Trader's Ottuk, which is from collecting a couple of necks from Vault of the Incarnates in Dragonflight. I actually made a video on how to get this mount last week, so if you want to check that out, the video will be in the description box. But that's been the last couple weeks for me. I love the preseason stuff. There's a little bit of a grind if you want to go do all the world quests and do a world tour of Mythic, do all the events and stuff, but then once you're done that, there's really not a whole lot else to do. You're not spamming dungeons or anything. You have time to go do achievements or farm mounts or level up alts or sit there farming 1,000 Vial Essence. It really makes me feel like it's the old days before Mythic Plus was introduced, where literally just log on, do some stuff, and then you can do whatever you want with the game. As excited as I am for Mythic Plus and getting into these dungeons in the raid, I am always going to miss this specific time period. In other news, I tried so hard to get myself a Steam Deck, and I kept going through these issues where I would have it in my cart, go to buy it, and then it would say it can't complete the purchase because this is no longer in stock. And then like every 15 minutes, another batch of stock came in and the same thing would happen. But I finally was able to get myself one of the OLED 1TB Steam Decks, and I'm so excited about it. So far, I played some Diablo 2 on it in a game called The Gunk, and I know that WoW does work on it. It seems like a little bit of a pain in the butt to get it working. I want to see if I can get it working by just streaming WoW from my computer to my Steam Deck. I'll play around with that a bit, otherwise I might just take some time to get it all working on the deck. But that's it for me. That's everything that I wanted to talk about and what I've been doing in the last 2 weeks in Midnight. Let me know what's going on in your world. How are you liking Midnight? How many characters have you leveled? How many achievements do you got? Mounts do you got? What do you think? What do you think of the new zones? The new Silvermoon City? Anything and everything. Let me know all your thoughts about Midnight or anything else related or unrelated to WoW down below in the comments. I love to read all of them. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And as I said, I posted a video last week talking about how to get the Iskaara Trader's Ottuk from Dragonflight. If you're curious about that, you can click the video that's on screen now. Thanks for watching. I love you lots. I'll talk at you soon. Enjoy the real start of the expansion.